Hello everybody. This is just a quick live video to kind of do a little bit of a shop tour. I haven't done one in a while. I haven't done a real official looking shop tour in a while. And I didn't announce that I was going to do this live video either. So I'm not really sure if we're going to end up with some people watching this or not. But the reason for this is because I've done a lot here in the workshop lately. I gotta get you out of the light here. Alright, let's do something different. Make this a little bit better for you. Alright, there you go. That's a little bit easier on the eyes. So, I haven't done this shop tour in a while because there has been a lot of stuff going on. And since I just completed, from what I am kind of taking as my last Tiny Workshop Remodel series video, not really going to put a whole lot more into continuing that series at this moment. At the end of that video, I did talk about I wanted to make a couple doors to put on the bottom of this cabinet that I made, and I definitely want to do that. I'm definitely wanting to put some doors in some of these other areas, but I'm at a place now where I've got things put back to mostly where they're going to end up being, so I'm not too concerned about putting these doors up right away. I am noticing I don't like the dust that's getting in these shelves, so I do want to still do it, but it's going to kind of take a while. So part 6, which would be the final part, is probably going to be a little bit from now. I'm not going to worry about trying to do it right now. Alright. I'll make sure that I see y'all's comments. I see we've got about 4 people watching, so hey, that's great for something that's totally impromptu. Did not announce this at all. In fact, I'm just kind of shooting the breeze here, just kind of having fun to say hi. It's about 9 o'clock here on the East Coast. I'm actually about to pull what I call a Woodworker's All-Nighter. If you haven't watched, I did a video a while back. If you haven't watched that, you need to check that out, because I did what I call the Woodworker's All-Nighter, and basically pump myself up with some caffeine and I just go at it. So I think that's what's going to happen tonight. And if that's something that's kind of cool to you, and you might want to see or check in throughout the night, let me know. Let me know if you want to see that. I might just pop live here and there on YouTube, maybe Facebook. We'll see, because Facebook might be a better avenue. So if you haven't, hit me up on Facebook too. There's a link on my main page if you haven't followed me there yet. And speaking of Facebook, that seems to be exploding a lot. I'm getting a lot of new people following me through there, and I think I've noticed a few people that are new on this YouTube channel, so that's really cool. Thank you for joining me from Facebook onto YouTube. There's a lot of stuff that goes on here. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to kind of scan you around. I'm going to try to do this by holding this a little more steady so I don't feel like I'm shaking you all around. So let's turn the camera around. Alright, okay, so here we go for the 2 of you watching right now. Well, let's start from the beginning here. This is my door. This is actually coming from living space on the other side of my room, but when you walk through the door, this is what I see, and it is an utter mess still. This is what happens with your workshop. My wood stove area is pretty unrecognizable. It's all because of this woodworking remodel. I just finally took the shelf down. That's what that big board is. That was my temporary shelf I had in here to hold a lot of things. So I've got to start cleaning that up, because it's better, you know, it's going to be fall before you know it. But we come in here, and this is the main area, which is the area, of course, you didn't see me working on in any sort of video. I basically did this whole section and never made a video about it. It was something I just wanted to do and kind of get done, and it actually went much faster than the new section. So we come around the turn. I'm going to keep you out from the lights. So this is the new section, and there's some things here that you did not see. Obviously, you can tell there's a lot of things that you did not get to see in the actual remodel videos. That's because I am starting to try to fill the spaces back up, because I need to clean this shop up. But everything turned out great. I made this little tape caddy to hold tape, it's okay. You know, obviously they can fall and lay like this, but this is perfect. It's leaning slightly so everything rolls to the front, no matter how big or small the rolls of tape are. And then of course all my paint cans up here, and yeah. One of these things I'm going to do sometime is talk about how I videotape my my videos, because I do use an iPhone for every single shot except the GoPro, which are shots that you can tell because they have the more of that fisheye look. But one of the devices I use to get a really up and close personal is this little it's not really a tripod, but my phone will sit here at an angle and I can tilt it. It's really cool. I'll make a video about my gear at some point in time, but this drawer turned out excellent. I was super excited about it. It glides easily, and as you can see, it's already full, and it's full of a lot of things that I don't use all the time, but some of the things that don't want to get dirty. My notepads and things like that. But this thing glides great. And there's the area where we still need to do a door. In fact, I've got the board. The bigger board right there is the board that I'm going to use for it. So one of these days we'll do that and we'll finish that up. Of course, I've got the planer. Now this here, this is going to be a project video, and then I decided against it because I was making this for my wife. She hasn't been feeling too great and I wanted to make something particular for her, so I upgraded our cutting board. If you remember, I made a cutting board a while ago and it was good but too thin, and I accidentally used some softwood in it, and so it's in pretty bad shape, and it's only maybe a year old. I'm not really quite sure, but this one is excellent. It's made out of white ash and cherry. So I am going to make a video about it, but I'm actually going to make a smaller one, which is what this little stock of wood is on that side. So be looking for that sometime soon. I've got the caddy or the box here. I'm just kind of still not really sure what I'm going to do. My father-in-law had a great idea of building a little place here to put sandpaper. So I might do that. And in fact, if I stand them up, 8x12, 8x10 sheets, if I stand them up, they just barely fit. So I think I might do that. I've got a couple things here that I've changed. I've got these magnetic strips, which honestly work perfect for the chisels. I don't really like the idea of making all these brackets and things to put chisels. They stick out so much, and so one of the things about a tiny workshop is trying to keep things as close to the wall, because you're saving space in that regard. So that is what's perfect for these magnetic strips, and they're great. And speaking of magnetic strips, this little board here, there's two magnets on it. You can it's just a dry erase board, and the magnets I could put pieces of paper. But the idea with this is to put the project that I am currently working on the list. As you can see, 1 and 4 are there, 2 and 3 are missing. That's because those are the last 2 videos you just saw. So this is going to help me keep focus. And actually, I got that idea from another YouTuber, which is right here, Rob's Workshop, a wood shop. I've been watching him a lot lately. Really liking his style. It's different. I like how he does his videos, and he has this in his shop, and it was kind of inspiring to me to help me stay focused, because I sometimes have a trouble staying focused, and my wife could totally testify to that. So we got a new clamp rack I built it just like the one I did before, and you can check out a video of that on my channel as well, of how I built my clamp rack. I don't think I'm going to ever change that design. I really like it. In fact, I actually made another one that was slightly different to put the bar clamps on it. They're just a 3/4 inch gap instead of 1/4 inch. So that's turning out pretty good. But we come around to, this is the side you've seen a lot. And as I've said, it's a mess. This is still going to be kind of an assembly station. I'm still in a position where I'm not really using it for that reason, because the shop's still in a mess. Trying to get things cleaned and organized, figured out. You know, I did this thing probably, I would say, almost a year ago, and I still have yet to really solidify what I'm going to do with these shelves. Even underneath, there's so much dead space underneath there. I actually want to put a shop vac in there to catch the dirt and dust from the miter saw, which you can see the hose from that. It's coming off of the miter saw. And just different things. I got a drawer. That's where my air nailers are. And it was a quick thing. It doesn't have a drawer front, and the knob is just simply attached to the actual drawer. It didn't really get finished the way it should have been finished. So this is an area that just needs a lot of work. I've got a lot of wood up here on the top that need to be stacked and figured out. And speaking of that, we'll move on to the next area, which has some more wood stacking. Obviously, there's my bandsaw. This is a section that you very rarely see, but it is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I do collect and reclaim a lot of wood from house projects, from work, when I'm taking something out, or if there's something we're doing on a job that we're trashing wood, I'll do. And there's actually a good bit. Those shelves there were an idea from April Wilkerson. I did that, but I have found that I really don't like it at all. Once again, kind of for the same reason. It takes up a lot of wall space, and it's sticking the boards off the wall, which I just lose a lot of space. So this whole area, I think, is going to be totally redesigned, and so there will probably be another workshop remodel at some point, and it'll be labeled, titled something different. And hey TJ, good to see you. Yes, I'm glad you're able to join us, because obviously this is something I didn't announce, so awesome. This section here is just terrible, but the idea that I want to do is really rearrange the shop and try to create more space, because if you're looking at it right now, I'll just try to keep still and make this make sense to you. This bench jointer to your left, I don't tend to use a whole lot. And the last project that I did, which was the how to upgrade your bench vise, that was really probably one of the first times you saw it in a video, but I've always had it. I just find that I do all my joining on the table saw, so I may not keep it. I might end up selling it, I might store it, I'm not sure. But the right in the center of the screen, obviously, is the house softener from my home. Then there's a space where there's a yellow box. It's sitting on a big metal piece. That's just a dead space. But the problem is, I got my water heater way over here, and I built a wall, and the idea with this was down the road, I was going to take the water heater, move it down here, move the softener and the conditioner underneath the pipes, since the pipes really kind of create a head knocker, and then put a little closet there. And we can keep the dust off them, keep them all in one area, and then possibly put a proper dust collection in here, because even though this is very small, I have become very conscious of dust in my shop. I have my 3-year-old in here a lot, and I don't want her to have problems with the dust. So that's going to be something that'll happen down the road. This will completely fixed up. I believe that's the last part of the wall that needs to be painted white in the shop. And then from that point, might have to address the ceiling. The ceiling is pretty messed up, although you don't get to see it a whole lot. But a lot of this wood's got to be sorted. One of the things I've learned is you can always save wood and keep it, but if you keep it for too long and you don't ever use it, it's best just to trash it. So I end up burning a lot of it just to burn it and get rid of it, or just take it to the dump. So that's what that is. And so we'll move. This is a section back here you'll never probably see again, but it's just a storage, your general storage for your home. If you have a house, you paint and you do all sorts of things. So that is kind of, oh, the other thing was the sink. I would actually move the sink down here, so all the water would be in the same section, and then get it out of here, and hopefully be able to upgrade a table saw at some point, because I like this table saw a lot by Border Cable. It is great, but they have since improved the design, and I wish I had the improved design versus this, because I can't really do a zero clearance insert. Anytime I do zero clearance, I've got to use my sled. So it's a compromise, and fine, it works great, but just a little snag in it all. When we walking around too fast here. TJ, I'll get to your comment in a minute. I did see you ask a question, so we'll get to that here in a second. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. And once I'm kind of finished walk around here, I'll stop the camera, move it, turn it, and see if I answer some of your questions. Hidden behind all this junk is obviously my belt sander. Excuse me. And then underneath the shim box, which has the shim maker, and actually I'm contemplating making another one, not on a video, but make another one and offer it on Etsy. I've had a lot of response, of a lot of feedback, people loving that idea. So I might make it and sell a few of them on Etsy. So if that's something you're interested in, keep your ears open and your eyes open to see some news. And if you want to really know, just follow me on Facebook, because that would be the first place I'd post it. Anyways, shameless plug there. The router table's under there. So these things are going to end up getting moved, because these have never been very functional where they're at. They're just really, honestly, very terrible location, but I've just been stuck with what I can do in here. And this is behind a staircase. So if you imagine that wall where the sticker board is, it's angled from the top left down to the bottom right, the staircase. So this is the back of the stairs, and just, you know, trying to do something different with there. That does need painted as well. And I have an old light system up here I used to use. You might have noticed my lighting has changed a lot over the last several videos, and you can see I've got a can light there, I've got a LED there, and I've got a bulb light here, which was a DIY project. I have it off right now because it is like illuminating the sun, and for this video I didn't want to illuminate things so much. Alright, I'm going to flip this around and I'll answer some of your questions. Alrighty, so right now I know I've got a couple questions from TJ. I'm going to try to arrange this in a position where I'm relaxed, you're relaxed, and the light is not blaring everybody out. So, if you see me rubbing my eye, I think my contact is getting a little dry. I'm looking at the wrong side, so don't bother that. But TJ, you had a couple questions. So the first question you asked was, what about the contest, the giveaway thing? Funny you mention that. I just started thinking more about it today. I think what's going to happen, I'm going to be doing this contest that I've been wanting to do for a while. I'm going to be doing it in the early fall, possibly even towards into the Christmas time, because what I found is just in the summer there's so much going on, a lot of outside activities, and for me it's just, I'm real busy at times. So the times I'm able to actually get in the shop is after 8 or 8:30 during the week, and that doesn't happen all the time. Right now I've been able to be in the shop almost every night, and it's been great, but it's not going to be like this very long. So this contest is probably going to happen in fall, but it's still something I'm really excited about, and it's different than most contests you see. I've been part of several contests and I've won a couple. Shane's Hobby Shop has done a couple, and he does things, he gets a lot of sponsors. Mine have always just been one winner deal. This particular contest is going to consist of 3 winners, but each for different reasons. So that's about all I want to say about that. But TJ, I believe I talked to you about it, so I apologize if never really got back to you and described to you things, but it's not all solidified yet, so I'm just going to leave it be for now. But be looking to hear from me in the fall, and we'll be working on that at some point in time. But it's really exciting. I've got to get some technical things figured out for it. The whole gist of the contest is there, but the logistics and some of the technical aspects of it are not yet. So we'll be getting that shortly. Let's see here. Let me back down. Yeah, TJ, you asked me what kind of table saw would you buy if you could, or if you can. Well, I am honestly, I really like Porter Cable. I've got a drill. At work I use their drills, their impact drivers. I've got the table saw. I am still wanting to buy their bandsaw. This bandsaw I have right now, it's kind of an in-between, but I really like their Porter Cable bandsaw. But I think, I think everybody probably wants a saw stop, but for me, that is way too big for, even if I left some of the table part off, I couldn't justify buying one, because by taking off the table that I can't use, that accounts for a lot of money that's not going to be able to be used. And so I can't really justify that, but I think what I would like to do, and I believe I could fit it in this shop, especially after I do some of this rearranging, would be a Delta. I like the Delta table saw that Lowe's offers. You know, the only things I ever really look at are at Lowe's. So if I wanted to get into shopping more for a table saw, I'd probably actually look into more magazines, more online things. Grizzly, I've heard a lot about different things like that, and kind of get more educated and make a wiser purchase. This Porter Cable table saw was something I did save up for and put a lot of gift cards together to get, so it meant a lot to get, and at the time it was probably one of the first big projects or big tool purchases that I made, so I was really excited about it. But now as time's gone on, you know, some of the biggest comparisons, it's kind of loud. It's a direct drive, it's not belt drive, and it's actually a contractor style table saw, but it's pretty loud. Yeah, Delta is $5.99 exactly. That's the thing. I mean, that is a couple $100 more than what I paid for this one. But in the scheme of things right now, I don't have that extra to get that. Even if I try to sell things, it's just not on the top of my list. But someday. And if I ever get into a position where I get a bigger shop, then I actually might think about SawStop. But that would be really, really cool. So if you're just joining us, you can ask me a question. I just completed a shop tour. Not kind of an informal shop tour. There'll be a more official one at some point in time, but this one here, very informal. So you can always go back, watch the replay of this. But yeah, so the Porter Cable table saw, it is a, well, it's a 10-inch contractor table saw. Model number is a PCB 220TS. I'm surprised I can even see that from here. But the insert is square, not round. So that's the biggest difference on them. The newer ones are actually round, and they're much better. They're built like everybody else's. But like I said, I'm a big, huge fan of Porter Cable. And so I probably would actually consider them. If they made, I tell you what Porter Cable could do is make a cabinet maker's table saw, and I would definitely get that one. But yeah, so if you have any other questions, everybody, I'm always, you know, I like answering questions. I do get questions on the comments a lot from different people, and it's always enjoyable. Sorry, I'll keep my phone out, keep my hand out of the way so I don't miss your all's comments here. Alright, sorry about this, guys. Not sure how to bring that back up. Anyways, there we go. What's the price for it? Do you know? Oh dear, what was that? I think it was 300, somewhere around 300. Yeah, I think so. It was 300, and I got that probably like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, because I bought it before we bought this house. I know we've been in this house for about 3 years now. So, yeah. I've had a lot of people ask questions on other videos, and I've answered them. One of the things, I'll hit on this because I just got asked today by a lady called Veronica. And so she had looked at this movie a little bit. She looked at this cabinet here. I don't have my mic on, so I hope this audio is okay, but she asked me this question here, you know, being that this was a tiny workshop remodel, and I'm trying to save space, workspace is very valuable. You know, the space that you need to do projects, you know, like the bench I did over here, is extremely valuable. So why didn't I choose to eliminate the bottom but do cabinets hanging off the wall? Well, the honest answer is I never thought about that. I do think maybe if I went back, I might have considered that. But to be honest, in my mind, I didn't have a plan to make this anything different. My drawing was exactly what it turned out to be. I didn't plan to have an extra workspace. And the reason for that is this. I created the first space, which you've seen in a lot of other videos probably several months ago. and that's the space I showed you a little bit earlier. If you didn't catch that, you can watch your replay of this video. And that space is kind of my assembly area. So once I've done all the cuttings, notchings, and everything is dry fitted, that's where I'm going to do all of my assembly, which I've already done. But I never really have had a place to do the cutting dovetails when I get into that, and different things like that. I've always had to put a board or something, or lower my blade on my table saw and just use the table saw for it. So pause on that thought. So real quick, yes, the Porter cable, the new one, I think is actually the same price. So yeah, the new Porter cable is the same price as what I paid. They haven't changed it. So anyways, the bench that I built was the idea for the workspace. That's why I went with 3-inch thick bench. Well, 3-inch thick 2x4s that I cut down to 3-inch. We're not going to talk about the funniness that the whole lawsuit thing went over with. You call it a 2x4, but it's not really 2x4. Those people must have just come out of the dinosaur age, because obviously, I don't know, it's probably back in the 40s and 50s when they started to make that move. Because my house, I mean, it's in the 50s and they're still thick, but they're not as thick as actual 2x4s. Those are more in the 20s, 30s, so it's just funny. Anyways, that was a rabbit trail, big rabbit trail. I do that sometimes, especially when it's late and this is unedited. The bench is really where I'm going to do all of my working, which is why this cutting board was sitting here. I'm going to just turn it so you can see. Yeah, the cutting board is sitting there, and then I've got my saws. That's why I've got the chisels there, because it makes it easy to use, and I don't have to worry about trying to find things. So I've got that space as my workspace, and then I have my other space, which is right there, as my assembly area. And for me, I think that's perfect. That works fine. Whenever I do something that's bigger, I end up leaving it on the floor. My floor is actually very level. It's the basement of my home, so there is a relative levelness to it all because of that. And so I don't worry about that, if I set things on there to build. And you've seen that before in videos where something is just too big to put on the bench and it's on the floor and I'm assembling it. And I think I'm going to have some more projects coming up soon. That's what I'm going to be doing. So long story short, this space here, I wasn't concerned about trying to have another workspace. I really didn't want to. I didn't really care to do that. So never crossed my mind to put these shelves up on the wall. But if I went back, I might have entertained the thought. So, but other than that, there is no. I think everything else is pretty much. I've pretty much taken you through everything. Just a couple more things to hit on, kind of news-wise. I'll have a video next Wednesday. That's the build update video, the updates I'd like to do. It's going to be on the bench vise and how that's working. So be looking for that next Wednesday. I'm also communicating with a company. Hopefully something will come about of this. If so, you might see some really cool stuff coming up soon. So that's going to be coming up. Well, I think that pretty much covers it. There will be a contest. That's another thing. The contest will be figured out. TJ, I'll be in contact with you. Not probably tonight, but at some point in the future, once I figure out how everything else is going to work out on this contest. That probably doesn't make a lot of sense to you, but if you knew what I'm thinking, it would make 100% sense. So I'm going to hop off of here. I'm going to go get an energy drink, because I'm going to pull this all-nighter. If you kind of think it might be funny to see me at 2 o'clock tonight working on an all-nighter, let me know. Put it in the comments, because obviously I'll be able to check the comments as this night goes on. And follow me on Facebook, because that's probably where I'll go live if I choose to. I'm not sure. Might go live here. I may not go live at all. Just kind of keeping it easy, keeping it simple. So I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you had a fun time. It's been about a half hour. But I will see y'all in the next shop video project. Thank you for watching.